I got a new project starting on. I'm going to build a powder coat oven. Now, I've been powder coating for several years. I've powder coated a lot of parts, and I've just been using an oven in a range that we've picked up off the side of the road. I mean, literally picked up off the side of the road. And that's worked pretty good, but it's pretty limited to the size of the parts you can put in there, and it's kind of a pain to get down in and hang stuff up in and stuff like that. I've got some bigger parts that I needed powder coat, and I've always wanted a bigger oven because I've had bigger parts I needed to powder coat. So I decided to build a bigger one, and I'd like to have a big one, a 4x6 or something like that, 6x4x4 or something like that, maybe even bigger one. But I can't really build one right now, so I'm going to go ahead and build a 4x4 foot one. That'll be big enough to do what I need to do for quite a while. The old kitchen range oven, we put it in the shop. Of course, used it to powder coat, and then we cooked dog food on it. We get fish from a local processor, the bones and stuff like that, and then cook that up and add it to the dog's food. And then the wife puts pots on there to boil water to scald chickens and turkeys and stuff when she butchers them. So it's worked pretty good. We've had it out there for years, but it was getting pretty cruddy. Bottom was rusting out, and I got a bunch of parts that I ruined the other day when I powder coated them because something got in there and smoked and smoked the powder coating. I had to redo them, and so I thought the thing was ruined. We had another range that we bought brand new in I think 1982 or 1983. We had it in a house that we only lived in for a year, so the thing only got used for a year. Then it's been in storage and kicked around back and forth places since then. And I thought it was in bad shape and got rusty, and mice were living in it and stuff like that, I thought. So I decided to get it out, clean it up, and use it for the range for powder coating and get rid of the other one that we've had for years. And once I dug it out, got it cleaned up, it wasn't near as bad a shape as I thought it was. It just had some dirt on it, and the mice really hadn't been in it like I thought. So once we got it cleaned up, we talked to the wife about it, and we decided we'd stick it in the cabin. We just had a little apartment-sized range in there for years, and it was okay for just the two of us, although she had a hard time baking cookies and baking turkey and roast and stuff like that. The oven's just not very big, but worked for the two of us. But once my son moved home here, my granddaughter and stuff, we'd do a lot more baking. So we decided to put that in the cabin, the new old range in the cabin, and we cleaned up the other one and that I've been using for powder coat, and it actually didn't look too bad once we got it cleaned up. But we had an opportunity to get another range, basically a throwaway that had been an apartment. It has a bigger oven in it than the one I've been using. Even though the oven is bigger than the other one, it's still not big enough for a lot of these projects I've got. So I decided to go ahead and see if I can put something together that'll work. I've got most of the parts lined up. I bought these heating elements off of eBay a few weeks ago, but I know when I was getting the new oven for powder coating, I could have just taken the elements out of the old oven and used in this, but anyway, we got new elements to use. I've got everything set up for it, just about. I don't have the PID yet, the control unit yet. That's still coming from China, I guess, by slow boat. I had these metal studs that we salvaged someplace. I think these came from a construction job in town. Dug those out. I've got enough of those to do the top and the bottom. And then I've got some other metal studs that are different size than these. They're bigger. These are only 2.5 inches. I think 2.5 inches. Yeah, 2 3/4 inches wide. But they're heavier studs than the other ones. The other ones are full-size studs, but these are heavier metal. I'll make the bottom and the top with these, and then try to fix some sides up and stuff with the other ones. Well, I've never used metal studs before, and what I'm doing on these, I cut them down to 4 foot, and then I measured the width of them. I marked one stud for the center, so it'll be on 2 foot center. Put the other one here on the outside corner. These are rolled over on the inside edge, so they don't fit together. And I've never used these things before, so I don't know if this is the right way to do it or not. But what I did is I marked the thickness of the stud on here on this stud, and just took sheet metal shears and just cut a slice in there, and then took pliers and opened it up, and so that way I can slide one stud up inside this one, and then drill a hole in them and pop rivet them together. Now, I'd already did the other side on this, and I set them all up, drilled one hole in each of these all the way around, pop rivet them together, and then squared it up, made sure it was square, drilled three more holes in each one of these studs and put pop rivets in them, so it'll hold in pretty good square that way. Now I'll turn it over on the other side, and I'll go ahead and drill 4 holes in each one of these and put pop rivets in them, and that should make it pretty sturdy. So this one will be the bottom. Now, most guys I've seen get sheet metal and line the inside with, but we don't have the availability of just running down to the metal shop and buying a piece of sheet metal here. So I'm going to go to today's Sunday, and I'll get these frames made today, and then tomorrow I'm going to go to the lumber yard and get some hardy sheet. He's got some 4x8 sheets of 1/2 inch thick hardy board, cement board, and I'm going to use that for the inside, and I'll just cut 4x4 sheets for the top and the bottom and the door, and then we'll go ahead and screw those into the studs and insulate it. And I'm not sure what I'm going to use on the outside yet. I thought about using some roofing tin that we've salvaged. I may do that. I may just get some tempered hardboard, some masonite, and sheet the outside of it with that. I'm not sure yet. Like I said, I don't have a plan here. I'm just got an idea. The idea is starting to take shape. Anyway, I get the first frame laid out, pretty much put together. I'll make another one identical to this one, and then I'll start doing the sides. Okay, there's the second frame. One of these is going to be the top, and one of them is going to be the bottom. Doesn't matter which one's which right now. I put 4 rivets on the one side. I went ahead and put 1 rivet in each of these ends and each of these studs, and then I squared it up and then put 4 rivets on each side here in each one of these. And once that was in, that held it pretty square, and I flipped it over and did the other side. I just put 3 in the other side on each one of them. Then I took body hammer here, just a body hammer with a peen edge, a cross peen on it, and peened over all of these corners here where there was a sharp edge on it, and just kind of knocked those down, smoothed them out, and then I took the body hammer and knocked over the sharp edges here, like on this corner, and just kind of peened them over, slid over them a little bit. That helps take the sharpness off of them. I'd burnished them off with a flap wheel on the disc grinder earlier, and so they took the burrs off of them and stuff, but just peening them over there takes the sharp edge off a little bit. So anyway, those 2 are ready to go, and I'll do the back one. Now the back one can go ahead and be 4 foot wide. There'll be a 1/2 inch, the hardy plank or hardy board that goes on here is a 1/2 inch thick. So to keep it the outside dimension 4 feet, we'll have to subtract the 1/2 inch plus the width of these studs here from it for the height. But so I'll go ahead and work on the back side of it, back wall now. Well, here's the studs cut out for the back wall, and these studs are 3.5 inches wide, where those other ones were only 2 3/4 inches wide. These are the same size as a standard wooden stud. Well, I got 2 of them. They're pretty good. They're cut out, and then 2 more that were okay for the end pieces. But then the middle pieces, I started to run out. These pieces were used for another project, and that didn't work out, and they got bent up a little bit. So I'm not sure whether I got enough pieces out there to do all of it or not. This will be the back wall, and I think I've got enough. Well, I know I've got enough out there to do the 2 side walls. I have to figure something else out for the door. But I'll go ahead and take a hammer and pliers and stuff like that and straighten these 2 pieces out, and then we'll put this piece together. I wound up using 4 uprights instead of 3 like I did on the other ones. I was originally going to put 2 of these heating elements in, one in each side, and I'm kind of thinking right now I might just put one in and put it in the back. I'm still not 100% sure what I'm doing. Like I said, it's a idea instead of a plan. This is 2 feet wide, so I'll go ahead and put it in the center, and that way I put the 2 studs, the intermediate studs, the filler studs there. It will be, oh, I don't know what that is, a foot. Yeah, a foot in from the edges to kind of box that in. Okay, well, I got the back wall done. All I gotta say is what a pain in the ass. These regular metal studs are a whole lot flimsier than those other ones that I had, the 2.5 inch ones or 2 3/4 inch ones. They must be more industrial studs or something, because they were a lot stiffer, even though they were smaller in physical size. The gauge of the metal was thicker, and these are just lousy. They're flimsy. I had them bent up and stuff. Some of them got bent up in handling, but some of them got bent up when my son was using them for another project we had here, and kinked and stuff, and I straightened them out. But putting this together, when I first put it together, I put one rivet in each corner like I did the other ones, and then I tried to turn it over, and it kinked and flopped, and anyway, it was a mess. It's pretty sturdy now that I've got it all tied together. I've got 3 rivets in each joint, 2 rivets in these 2 cross members. I've got those 2 cross members in there, so it's pretty stiff now. And of course, you know, you get sheeting on it or something, it's going to stiffen it right up. I mean, that's all walls do that, even 2x4s. So this cavity here will be for the burner. It'll go right in like this, like that. I'm going to switch these little tabs around to the other side, but that'll come out like that. I'm going to make a stainless steel pocket for it to fit in, I think. Anyway, we'll make something pocket for it to fit in so that it's flush. It's not sticking out, protruding into the to the work area, into the oven itself. It'll sit there in like that. I'm not sure if I have enough studs to finish it or not. I think I've got enough out there to do 2 sides. One of them will be in this size of stud, and the other one will be in those smaller studs. Anyway, there's top and the bottom and one side done. Okay, there's the back sitting on the base. I guess that's the base. It's either the base or the top, but since it's on the bottom, it must be the base. I set it up there just to measure how wide to make those side panels. I mean, I could calculate it out, but why calculate it out when you can set it up there and measure it exact? It's 44 5/8 inches, so there'll be a 1/2 inch of panel on that wall. That makes it 41 1/8 inch. The walls will be wide. Well, there's the box frame all cobbled up. Still have to figure out what I'm going to do with the door. I don't have quite enough of those studs to make a door. We'll figure something out. Now that'll be a little bit different than what it looks now, because I'm going to put cement board on there, party board, whatever it is, and I'm going to put it down on each panel hole separately, and then put the panels together after I put the hardy board on. I'm not going to try to fit it in there. Top and the bottom frames were out of that smaller studs, and then I made the right frame out of the smaller studs, so I figured I'd put the hinge on that side for the door, hinge the door on the right side, and those are a lot stiffer, a lot heavier duty studs for putting a hinge on than these other studs. I boxed in the rear wall for the heating element, and then I went ahead and boxed in the left wall for the heating element, just in case I need 2 of them. And after looking at that and seeing how much volume there is in there, it's a good possibility I might need both heating elements. I was thinking maybe I could get by with just one, but it's a lot of space in there. So anyway, I've got the capability of putting both in there. I've got 2 heating elements. The PID that I got will handle them, and the solid state relay that I got will handle them, 2 of them. So if it doesn't, then I'll get another solid state relay. This is all kind of an experiment anyway. I bought the PID and the solid state relay from China, and heard tell that the US ones are a lot better and the Chinese ones don't hold up and blah blah blah, but and it may be true, I don't know, we'll find out when we get them all together. But that's it now. I still have to figure out what I'm going to sheet it with on the outside. I've got lots of roofing metal that we've salvaged over the years out there. I could use the roofing metal, or I might just get sheetrock and put on there. Sheetrock is good and fireproof on the outside with insulation and the cement board in the insides. Like I said, there's no plan, it's just an idea. But there it is all together. There's the box together. Well, it's not together, it's just dry fitted up.